Like
Right.
we're always getting millions upon millions of impressions that television channels used to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for, and
Yeah.
you're doing it for free. And so if there was ever a time to get started, I guess I would leave this for your audience is, the best time to start was yesterday, but the best time to plant the seed is today. It's only a matter of time before big brands realize the potential of YouTube and Disney or Coca-Cola starts making their own YouTube content.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of The Passionate Few. And today we have somebody who has been an awesome dude that I got to connect with, almost 2 years ago. His name is Jeremy Stickney. He's a YouTube specialist consultant. He's worked with channels that have millions of subscribers. This guy has studied everything as it comes to the business of having a business on YouTube, how to optimize it, how to make sure to maximize your layout schedule, your content creation, optimizing viewership, subscription, audience retention, all the things that are essential when growing an audience, especially at a time like this, where the world's in quarantine with coronavirus, and really maximizing just how important it is to get good at building an audience and a presence online. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Jeremy, and sharing your wisdom, man. I look forward to picking your mind on how people can build their YouTube channel, grow it, and overall optimize it wherever they're at right now, whether they have an existing channel or they're just starting one. So thank you again for being on.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure. Provide value for your audience. Yeah, now's the time to go on YouTube, start crushing it more than ever. So, great timing as well to start diving into this.
Absolutely, man. And I know people pay you in the thousands of dollars for consulting, page reviews, stuff like that. So really appreciate your time. And
Mhm.
now I wanted to first and foremost talk a little bit about your story, just so the audience gets to know a little bit about you. So
Mhm.
because you're a young dude, right? How old are you now?
22.
22. You're a young dude. I know you came into LA one time. You had told me you interviewed Tom Bilyeu last minute. I went down to interview with you, and I was like, wow, this kid's just as crazy as I am when it comes to getting interviews. And so I met you, and I was like, dude, this guy's a good dude. Can you give the audience a little bit of context as to how you went from being broke and working in a grocery store to, being involved with channels on YouTube in the millions and helping people grow online?
Yeah, so it's funny. When I was 20 years old, loved watching thought leadership content, really from biggest thought leaders, your channel, just everyone in the game. And I wanted to connect with people. So I flew out to LA to interview Tom Bilyeu. Randomly, didn't contact him, nothing. I was broke, in debt. I was working at a grocery store, like you said. And I just came up with this idea to find a clever way to interview Tom at a convention center. And I ended up getting 45 minutes of his time. And in the
Wow.
process, I delivered a lot of value for him by handing out little cards to his booth number because he was promoting the comic book. And that got his attention. And I think a month before that, I took a course from Evan Carmichael, who's now my mentor and business partner. But it didn't start out like that. Uh, I went to a seminar of his with the intention of getting him as my mentor.
And how much?
2 point, sorry,
How much was the seminar?
$3,000.
Three
So
thousand dollars. And did you have the money, or did you borrow it? How did you pay for the seminar?
I took it out on my credit card, just with the faith and intention of getting Evan as my mentor, and not knowing how I'd do it. And he told me to go out. Why don't you? I just wanted to interview Tom Bilyeu, and he said, "Why don't you go out and do it?" And so I did, and that caught his attention and led me down a path of starting to work with him, starting to learn from him, getting him as my mentor and business partner. Because the funny thing is he gave me the advice to go out and interview Tom. I did it. That showed him I was committed. Tom and him started DMing each other on Instagram, and that led me down the spiral, starting to work with him and learn everything there is uh, on YouTube to then grow a business and help those thought leaders that I initially learned from in order to get this whole thing going. So the irony is just huge.
Crazy, man. Amazing. Now, talk to me a little bit about, just for the audience to get a little context, who is Evan Carmichael? How big is his channel? And, what overall has been the impact since you've been working with him about like how he's been able to do that? So who is Evan Carmichael and how did you get there now
Mhm.
that but the audience might not yet?
Yeah, so Evan Carmichael, he has 2.2 million plus subscribers on YouTube, growing fast every day. One of the biggest thought leadership channels. We're very well known for top 10 rules to success, where you see them on like top 10 rules from Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett. People love that. And that's kind of been a big, huge part in his brand. So we're very big in the thought leadership space. And essentially, we covered the thought leaders. And in turn, with the knowledge we've accumulated from business, we actually, with a lot of people we profile in our top 10 rules to success, then give out the advice for them to make their own content that they're already putting out in the world and grow their YouTube channel. And so Evan, one of the biggest things of why he's so successful on YouTube was he really put in the effort where most people would give up. YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint. But we really focused on strategies that he taught me, everything he knows on YouTube, on how to get your content ranking on other people's videos, to be promoted, to be marketed 6 years down the road. So if you create a video today, we became experts, especially him then teaching me how you create a video today, 6 years later, still driving easy, unpaid views, free marketing, and then pulling people into an email list where then they go into your business. And so his huge success was from how do you create content that will live forever and pull people into your business.
Wow, dude. And what's awesome is that you guys do that at the same time, inspiring people. It's powerful content. I know I've seen that. I'm sure most people on the channel have seen the top 10 rules to success, and it's the signature black and yellow color on the channel. So yeah, man, that's awesome. So, okay. So you start working with Evan, you start working with him closely, and then people start saying like, dude, can you help me with my channel? You guys start building demand and end up consulting for some of the top thought leaders on the planet with their YouTube channels. Obviously there's a huge demand to grow. Can you talk a little bit about advice from the practical standpoint of, maybe for somebody who's just starting a channel, or maybe they already have a channel, but I know kind of like me, like I was just creating content I love to create. I didn't think about an algorithm and calculating it. I know we just finished up a call, which was great. Thank you so much for adding value there. But what's your best piece of wisdom to somebody who's either, like I said, starting a channel or already has a channel and they're just starting to take it serious? What are the key things to look at, evaluate that are important? Is it, posting at certain times every day? Is it about letting your audience know what days and times to post? Is it thumbnails? Is it titles? I'm sure it's a combination of all that, but just for somebody who knows nothing, what are your first step 1, step 2, step 3 things to make sure to be on top of to optimize as you grow your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I would say don't focus on the myopic things like posting times. Those stuff will come later as you expand the channel. If you're just starting out, you always want to come in with the intention of how do I turn this into a business? Because most people, they really screw up on that. Most people, they just want to post what they love to post, not thinking about how do you get out of maybe that 9-to-5 job you hate and turn this into a full-time business. And so the structure, you should be creating content that you love and inspire people, but then go into services that you want to promote. So it's very interesting because one of the clients I work with, she was a yoga instructor and she hated working at the yoga studio and she was just a teacher. And she decided that she wanted to create a business around teaching people yoga through courses and other programs, and later then teaching people to become teachers, which is what she did. And she started on YouTube. And as she grew the business and pulling people into the email list, just putting out yoga videos, 10-minute stretches or on yoga poses or whatever the case, putting out content people wanted that they could do from home, and then pull people into her business and say, here's how I started a YouTube channel, doing the thing I love. Here's a course on how to get yoga certified. Here's a course on how to make online programs for yoga. So you take that thing you love and then twist it and turn how people can do it themselves. And she was doing great before everything happening right now with the coronavirus. But now, because people can't go to yoga studios, she's blowing up. And so really people, now is the time to go on YouTube, get rid of that brick and mortar style and start growing your business online. And that of course comes with putting out the content you love. The main things when putting out content you love is people don't realize you can beat the top professional speakers on YouTube if you just start applying some algorithm to your game. Putting out passionate content is half the battle that people are going to engage with, but then doing the algorithm As example, Evan, who has 2.2 million subscribers, and he'll even tell you this himself, where he doesn't think he's the best speaker yet, or he doesn't think he's the greatest at this or that, but he focused on the algorithm when other people just thought maybe thumbnails aren't important, or maybe the videos and the specific content you're putting out aren't important. Those things are very important. So in terms of if you're going to start creating content you love, find the business angle you want to take with it and start creating videos around the services you want to provide in your business. And keep posting, and don't give up after a month or two on YouTube of posting. Because
Gotcha.
most people, they just treat YouTube as some quick thing that, I'm gonna make it big in 3 months. YouTube doesn't work like that. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Gotcha.
As the big thing.
So what about when it comes to, posting every week? Some people say, hey, back in the day, the algorithm favored people who posted every day. There were some people who were vlogging, the Jake Pauls and the other big vloggers of the world. They were like, let me just post every single day, for 500 days a row. Something has to happen. It's going to catch momentum just by sheer velocity of consistency. Does that still apply? Should people post as much as possible? Should they, a lot of people say, well, how do I get started? And a lot of people recommend them to just start filming off their iPhone, just imperfect action to get the ball rolling. What are the stages you would recommend from a very practical perspective on how to get momentum going and build that consistency? How should people be approaching it? Should it be, is it good enough nowadays to still do stuff from your phone as long as you do it, 3 times a week at specific times? In the beginning, is it just a matter of getting it out there? Is 5 days a week, every day valuable? What have you seen as the best way to start getting in traction where even if the numbers aren't adding up or growing really quick, you're at least following the right system to inevitably get, maximize your chance of success on YouTube? What's your
Yeah,
advice?
so I guess it could be really hard for people to see Logan Paul, your content, or anyone who has high quality interviews or format and say, how do I go from nothing to that? It seems impossible, and it seems a light years away. And the most important thing is to just build momentum. Momentum is your greatest force. You got to start posting content, even if that's just with your phone. People always ask me, how do I start on YouTube? You take out your phone and you go for maybe 5-10 minutes, whatever you can do, longer, even better, and you create content you're super passionate about, and people want to listen, especially because your audience are thought leaders. So if you have thought leadership content and people need it more than ever, especially right now, your advice should be the thing that gets the views, not the fancy B-roll that most people are swinging these days. And because most people are thought leaders on your channel, they shouldn't be doing these high entertainment value Logan Paul videos per se, because that's not why people are coming to your content. People are coming to your content because they want to change their lives. As you scale, you can start to really up the quality, but first you need to get momentum. And so posting as much as you can. If you can go every single day, post every single day. If your time is limited and you can only have as a side hustle, maybe 2 times per week. And then you build up. You just don't want to burn out. So you want to start off maybe 2 times per week. If it's easy, go 3, go 4. We have the belief, Evan and I, that quantity leads to quality. That should be your number one focus. Putting out awesome content that will then, because it's so interesting. So many people want to be speakers. How are you gonna? But they have no speaking skills. How do you engage? How do you get your speaking skills? You create content for YouTube, so that by the time people see you 5 years from now on YouTube, be like, oh my gosh, this person's an amazing speaker. Well, it's because they put out maybe 500 videos on their channel that made them so professional. Evan, he wouldn't rewatch a video on his channel until the 400th video. He felt so embarrassed and he told me personally that he wouldn't rewatch his videos until the 400th video. So if that's not hustle, if you don't have hustle to do that, to have that passion, that drive to help people and grow your business, and you're thinking it as a quick lead, just grow your Instagram. YouTube is the long game, so you want to treat it as such.
No, it makes total sense. Now, how about in terms of duration of content? A lot of people say, well, hey, is 5 minutes, 10 minutes enough? And I know we're in the space of, long format content. you mentioned to me prior, 20 minutes is that sort of magic point. Obviously, for people interested in monetizing through Google AdSense, which I do, I know you do as well, through YouTube ads and revenue, is that you can't really put in ads if it's less than 10 minutes, other than just the front or whatever. So when it comes to monetizing your content, obviously there's things like, niches in finance tend to do better, perform better. But in terms of just length,
Hmm.
what's the psychology and what have you seen become a successful factor when it comes to evaluating how long your content should be? And, what have you seen as a failing formula for length of content? What have you seen as a winning formula for duration of content?
Hmm.
And,
Yeah. So.
and the
Mhm.
reason I'm asking sort of the questions long-winded is just because I really want the audience at home listening to be able to understand the nuances of the depth of the question and how many people can relate to. So yeah, I'm not just trying to over
Mhm.
ask the question. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Really, when it comes to the duration of content for YouTube ads, to your point, um, that you want 10 minutes plus so
Mhm.
that you can have ads throughout the video. Like you said, you can't have them. But AdSense is even one of the smallest things for Evan's business because you're pulling through that email list.
Right.
That's the real golden nuggets as you scale the business.
Mhm.
But in terms of, I wouldn't focus people on creating longer links, especially starting out on AdSense. As you scale, that could be something. The most important thing about length of content for any channel, no matter their size, is, especially in thought leadership, is to have 10 minutes plus content, not just because of the ads, but because that is the algorithm point. And Evan and I are geeks for data, so we love this stuff. So happy to give it to your audience, and they don't have to do any digging for this stuff. Uh, YouTube has an algorithm point where they look at 6 to 8 minutes. If you can get a viewer to watch 6 to 8 minutes of a YouTube video, they're going to promote you more.
Mhm.
YouTube didn't start out like that. YouTube, when it first came on, it was a minute video, 3 minute videos. But
Right.
over time, YouTube has changed and their algorithm has changed to say, how do we keep people on our channel as long as possible and not get people going to Facebook, Instagram, these other platforms? And so if you're creating longer content that is keeping people over 8 minutes, YouTube's going to see that you're doing a great job at keeping people, and they're going to promote you more because you're doing a better job. You're creating longer length videos where people assume that, well, people's retention spans are lower today. People like shorter videos, but that's not the case with thought leadership content.
Mhm.
The interesting thing is with entertainment and like Logan Paul vlogs or music videos, how do those get so many views when they're 5 minutes and miss that YouTube sweet spot? It's because you can always rewatch that kind of content.
Mhm.
Music videos, people are always replaying them 24/7. Same thing with entertainment vlogs. With thought leadership, when you tell me something, how to change my life, I've gotten the knowledge. So why would I need to watch the same video over and over and over? So the audience, when you guys are creating videos, you want to make sure that you're hitting 10 minutes plus. Longer the better. The videos that get promoted the most on Evan's channel, Gary V's channel, all these channels are 30-minute plus content. The reason is because you have one video to capture someone's attention and view duration. So if you can do that, you're going to be promoted more. And that video is just going to be segmented off to more and more people.
I love that, dude. Now, what about when it relates to finance? And a lot of people say, well, what are the topics that make the most in terms of revenue, get the most attention? What are the trends you're seeing nowadays? Even though I know YouTube AdSense is just a minor part of revenue. Same for us as well. It's there, it's nice, but it's definitely not the bulk of the revenue driver. How can people optimize their content to start generating ad revenue, and what are the metrics? I know there's like they have to have X amount of subscribers, X amount of time watched. So for somebody who has a question about monetization, what's your 1 minute advice on how the monetization system works on YouTube in terms of
Hmm.
start, when you can actually start collecting YouTube AdSense revenue, and and how somebody can go about creating their content or tailoring their content to subjects that favor you getting paid? Because I know advertising is dependent upon the niche you're in. So for example, whereas people doing pranks used to make money because it was views, now YouTube auctions off ads. So people in finance, real estate, banks, things like that.
Hmm.
Essentially, the more you talk about money, the more money you can make.
Yeah,
More people
exactly.
are auctioning for that advertising space. So how do people monetize, and what should they talk about to tailor their content to monetize?
Yeah, so YouTube's guidelines, you have to reach 1,000 YouTube subscribers and get those 4,000 hours of watch time, which seems huge to anyone starting out, and definitely a big goal. It's always hardest to get the first 1,000 subscribers for people, and that's the biggest milestone essentially for YouTube that people should gauge as a happy mark because it's one of the hardest to do. But once you hit that, and you get set up with the YouTube program, they start running ads on your channel. Uh, you do want to create videos if it suits your channel's needs to target things like finance, money, uh, inspiration, motivation, those kind of topics, because those tend to drive more AdSense revenue. Now, uh, once you get monetized, you do want to create 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes content. As long as you can go, the more ads that will come on that video. Uh, and the interesting thing is once you have that, you also want to have in the tags certain keywords in the hashtags that will make you more money. So uh,
And the
advertisers,
hashtag, the keyword
uh,
tag.
keywords, hashtags, the same thing that you put in YouTube videos.
Gotcha.
So
The
it's
description, hashtags, and the tag section, or is it different than hashtags and tags?
just keywords
Okay.
in the column.
Gotcha.
So that you pop up. People like to use them for YouTube search.
Mhm.
Like, oh, if I put in this line of keywords in my video, I'm going to rank on YouTube search. And tags, YouTube search to begin with is a waste of time. People think that YouTube search is the game. It's not. It's getting your content recommended on some of the biggest thought leaders' content to siphon off their audience to your channel.
Mhm.
Now, we could dive into some strategies on how to do that for people. But to answer your question of what's a great way to use keywords then, if it's relevant for growing your channel long term?
Mhm.
Well, advertisers look at keywords to run ads on your video.
Mhm.
So if you had motivation as a keyword in your video per 1,000 views, you'd make $8.
Mhm.
If you have inspiration as a keyword in your video, pretty much almost same thing, you make $20 per 1,000 views. So same word, and yet you're doubling the amount of revenue you make.
Inspiration does better than motivation.
Inspiration makes 2.5 times more money than the word motivation.
Wow.
And so even just putting in certain keywords and topics like motivation, inspiration, money, because banks spend so much on advertising, those can be great ways to really maximize your revenue. If you're in finance, you're solid. That's awesome. But for people who aren't, it's also important to note that maybe if you're a fitness channel and you can't run ads during a video because you're doing workouts, AdSense won't be a big part of your revenue stream, but pulling people into an email where then you sell them maybe your merch or maybe a course, a fitness course or a fitness app you have, that could be so much bigger than AdSense. So if you're a channel that doesn't fit AdSense, don't worry, pull them into an email list because that's always where the golden nuggets are for people.
Right. I love that. And as long as you're continuing to add value, people are going to be more interested in what you offer. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what's your best advice on how to do that, right? How do people pull an email list, and why is it important to build an email list? I mean, I personally know, but from your perspective, because a lot of people don't know, a lot of people think it's like, oh, spammy or all this, but a lot of people don't know just
Mm-hmm.
how powerful it is building an email list of potential customers that you won't ever have to pay a penny to market to, offer your products, offer services, share new videos, share updates, build a raving fan base, and develop more of a, intimate digital relationship with your audience as opposed to just renting them, right? You actually own your audience, and you can connect with them closer. So how should people do that? How do you recommend people build their email list? Is it calls to action? Is it PDFs? Is it ebooks in the description below that you can set up and collect their email in exchange to give? Is it mini courses? What have you seen work and not work? And what would your best advice be on how to collect emails?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess the first thing I would say is to kind of use what Gary Vee talks about, jab, jab, right hook,
Mhm.
where you give so much value up front and then you sell. If there was ever an ultimate jab or more gut punch, it would be YouTube. So YouTube is such a value-driven platform that if you ever want to get someone's email, YouTube would probably be the best place.
Mhm.
Long term, 100%. And so the first thing you should be doing is putting out content that will impact people, and not just something to get a lead. You have to make sure it is value driven. It will change people's lives. And if you're putting out such valuable, consistent content, who wouldn't want to buy from someone who's given so much in return for free? For free, essentially. It doesn't cost them anything to watch a video. Top 10 Rules to Success from Evan. And so to go out and buy his book, it's nothing,
Mhm.
right? After years of content. So uh, building up your brand and giving so much value is the greatest play. And then giving call to actions for people where if you have a course that you want to promote, you should make YouTube videos around the course and talk about things in the course where then you tell people, hey, listen, if you like this clip I have, down below, the first link in the description, go check out the full course where you can maybe uh, level up your finances if it's about money, as example, where you're creating content that is around the very thing you're trying to sell your services, and giving people and pointing to a call to action in the description, just for a brief couple seconds, because you're there to give value, not sell, uh, and have it on your channel. If you have that video on there and that series of videos around your services, 6 years from now, it'll still be driving views, leads. It's incredible. And YouTube should be treated as the brand and the place to give value, not necessarily to sell, but to get their email from a free PDF as well that you can link up on your channel, and pull people into the email list. It should be the place where you give value, and then sell should be always through the email list. One of the things you can do with YouTube is at the end of a video, when you tell people in the end cards to go to another video, you could actually link up as well a free PDF. And
Mhm.
so Evan has the top lessons from Steve Jobs, and a lot of people, we have top 10 rules to success on Steve Jobs, and it does extremely well.
Mhm.
And so by having a free PDF on Steve Jobs, people, they want those wisdom pieces that Evan has collected on this guy, that has made Steve so successful, and in turn Evan as well. And then we provide that people, and we get their email, and we still send them value in the email. But then if you have books, Evan just came out with a book, Built to Serve, and once you have that email list, you're good to go.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. That's powerful. Now,
Hmm.
what about when it comes to, people saying, well, you know, this is cool and all that, but how long does it really take to start making YouTube worthwhile? Is this a 6 months play, a 1 year play? Is it not about that? It's a matter of how consistent I am. Is there any benchmarks you've seen? For me, I know I was really impacted when I heard Gary Vee several years ago say, for the first year, don't worry about the views at all. So that for me was a mental comfort, because a lot of people post one video, two video, three videos, and they go, oh shoot, it tanked. So in your experience, what have you seen? I know you mentioned Evan said the first 400 videos he didn't look back at, right?
Yep.
What have you seen be a good rule of thumb, so to speak, on people creating content and having long-term expectations of the value? Like you said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. How long should people mentally prepare to give value on YouTube before they actually start seeing momentum, so they don't get discouraged early on if things they don't go viral right away? How should
Hmm.
you be mentally approaching the timetable of posting content?
Yeah, and this is honestly, people starting out, even if you're not necessarily big in the thought leadership space yet,
Mhm.
you're not the only one that faces this. Some of the top thought leaders in the world have tried to go on YouTube and they quit after 3 months.
True. Yeah, it's
Uh,
very true. Yes.
and it's so sad to see that they could be crushing it and they're not. And this gives your audience the perfect opportunity, because people are treating it like a sprint. YouTube, you're planting the seeds and waiting for them to sprout long term.
Mhm.
Instagram, LinkedIn, those are short term plays. YouTube, it's the hardest to grow, but the most rewarding long term, and the most safe and structured one out of all these platforms. And so, what people should be focusing on is the time span. You see some people like the Snake Lady take off after 9 videos and get to like millions upon millions of subscribers, and those are a dime a dozen. People shouldn't compare themselves. Realize it's going to be a marathon, and post as much as you can Start with low quality, even if you have to, just from your video. It's funny, from your phone. Some of Grant Cardone's best videos are him with the phone, selling to people, doing his thing, the thing he loves, how to do sales. Or Jordan Belfort on sales. One is a crappy quality video of him on the phone with someone doing sales. And so the reason those videos took off is because their advice is so valuable. It's not their $100,000+ studio that got them there. So frequent, consistent content, quality. I mean, quantity leads to quality. And you want to kind of maybe have some metrics of, the first year you shouldn't really pay attention. Put out that content, but maybe you set the goal of 1,000 subscribers. If you hit 1,000 subscribers, the next goal realistically for a lot of people, it could be, if you're really consistent and really taking it seriously, is maybe 10,000 subscribers. So to go in 2 years to 10,000 subscribers, most people, I'm gone. I'm out of here. But they don't realize that YouTube is such a compounding effect where by year 3, if you didn't stop from 10,000, 100,000, 100,000, 400,000, 400, 8,000. It just grows exponentially. Evan, in 2017, he grew almost 1 million subscribers. We're at 2.2 million. So literally almost a year to a year and a half of his subscribers came from 1 year.
When did he start his channel?
Gosh, I don't know. Long time ago. Long time ago.
He didn't start taking it seriously until 2016. So do you know how long it was, like how long it took him to get his first 1 million subscribers versus how long it took his second 1 million subscribers? And I'm asking just so the audience watching at home or listening at home can get context as to the fact that, like you said, it's a compounded thing. You're thinking long-term. You're not thinking this year. You're thinking 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and setting yourself up to have an infinite amount of business if you'll just put in the work, because the time's going to come anyways. 5 years, 10 years is going to happen anyways. The question is where you will be when that happens, right? Where are you going to be in a position with your audience? Where are you going to be in terms of having your list, offering products and services, being able to build your business? So any advice or insight on that?
Yeah, so Evan really started taking it seriously 2016. He was putting out consistent content, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't taking the algorithm deeply in effect. And so he could have grew much faster. And so now he's really started to become, me and Evan, the people who know the data on how to grow. And we apply that to some of the top thought leaders in the industry to do the same. But for him, 2016, I don't know what he was at then, but I know after 2016, 2017 to 2018, halfway, that was around 1 million right there.
Wow.
But he had years, like 6 years ago, 10 years ago content that for some reason, after 6 years, he had a video on Les Brown. That video is one of his top videos, went into the 1 million views 3 years later.
Yeah.
The video did nothing for 3 years. And then it went into the 1 million subscribers mark. So even if the content, the reward you don't see yet, just planting all these seeds, they're bound to sprout. You may not know when.
Yeah, no, and I'm so glad you bring up that point. I love that you bring up that point because it's true that a lot of times, for example, say on platforms, like you said, it's a short-term play. People say you got to be on Facebook, you got to be on Instagram, you got to be on LinkedIn. And while those are platforms and verticals that work, organic, maybe not as well as paid traffic or running paid ads on those platforms, nonetheless, nobody knows about your Facebook post from 2 years ago. Nobody knows about your Instagram post 2 days ago, or let alone 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago. You work so hard to write the caption, post the photo, make the clip on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever. Maybe there's buzz for that 24-hour window, but after that, it's gone. It's long in an archive. With YouTube, and for the audience at home listening, how many times have you watched a video, forget about this month, this week, or even today as you're listening to this, before you listen to this, where it was a video that came out 4 years ago or 4 days ago or 4 hours ago or 4 minutes ago, right? YouTube is still serving that in their algorithm and boosting and recommending and suggesting stuff to the billions of people around the world with these millions of videos at any given time. So like you said, the more you post content, the more you're just entering another lottery ticket in the draft for it to blow up and hit it big. So I love that you bring that up, and you never know what thing will catch. And to your point, one time I had a video with the creator of Hot Cheetos. I think the first year in 2017 we put it out, it got something like 40,000 views, and I was like, okay, cool. that's since grown to, I think at this stage, I think over 500,000 views.
Yeah.
So we got more views 2 years later than we did 2 years prior. But at the time, if I was evaluating it based on what it did then, I would be thinking just on how it did that week or that month. So I just wanted to speak to your point about YouTube being a powerful platform where you might not necessarily even be evaluating it the right way if you're judging it by the month or the year. It's more of a long-term approach. If you put 100 seeds, all you need is 5 or 6 or 7 of them to really blow up your channel and change your whole life, really change the whole trajectory of the channel. So that's a beautiful point. Yeah, anything you want to add to that insight?
Yeah. So, like you said, Instagram, the post you put out 2 weeks ago are no longer, they're no longer in the algorithm.
Right.
No one's looking at it 2 weeks ago. And so YouTube, it's competitive advantage versus every single other platform out there, and why YouTube should, if I had to bet on one social media platform, it would be YouTube, owned by Google, second world's biggest search engine. But the funny thing is that YouTube search is not the big way to grow. So YouTube's competitive advantage is actually recommending your content on some of the top thought leaders in the space. So you want to be thinking about 3 things that people tend to neglect, and that will make the biggest impact for you to have that opportunity to, let's say you want to talk about money, start ranking on the biggest channels in money. Maybe you start ranking on Dave Ramsey, where then, because he has so millions upon millions of views, you're siphoning that views and subscribers into your audience. Now, for people who don't know what suggested is, that column on the right side of the page where you see all those videos, that's where the game to grow on YouTube is. And so any YouTube consultant saying YouTube and SEO optimization is the way to grow, they don't know what they're talking about. It's really, how do you get your content ranking on the top thought leaders? And one of the best ways to do that is your thumbnails. You should be spending a great deal amount of time, as much time on the thumbnails as you are on the videos. Because most people, they just throw up a thumbnail with no intention of what it will do.
I've seen that happen
And,
sometimes, yeah.
and it's so interesting too, because you see so many big thought leaders do this as well, where they write a book and they put all this time into writing a book. And then they have their team not maybe make optimal thumbnails. But you want to think about, YouTube videos are the same thing as writing a book. You're putting your valuable time to change people's lives, and the thumbnail is the cover for the book.
So people do judge a book on YouTube. That's all they
Exactly. And so, when people write a book, they spend so much time on the book cover. They want to make sure they get that thing right. So same thing with YouTube. You want to make sure you get that thumbnail right. You want to make sure, as example, you want to have branding. What is your brand going to be known for on the thumbnail? For us, we are very well known for black background, white and gold text, Believe Airplane in the bottom column, where people know our branding. You're essentially creating that brand. Why do people know Coca-Cola? It's red and white with the polar bear or the Olympics logos. And so you want to treat this as a business, and part of that is branding. And so creating high quality thumbnails where people know it's your video every single time, so that they come back to your content. And then making sure you're creating that long length content where people are engaged, and making sure the first minute of your YouTube video is as engaging as possible. Most people, they start off their videos, hey, my name is Jeremy, I do this, I can help you with this, we're going to talk about this. Say, everyone's gone, no one's there anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't know you yet. I haven't established a relationship to care what you do. I just want value. And so you always want to create the first couple seconds of your video as if the people I'm going to segment this to out, no one knows who I am. You're going to always have that frame of context.
Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Yeah, the audience is always asking themselves that. You can't assume that they're subscribers, because most of your audience are people who have yet to discover you, or will discover this video a month from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, and they might not know you. So you can't assume that they know you. You want to always reestablish that
Exactly.
first time somebody's watching a video. Beautiful point.
Yeah.
Now, just to go back one step, you mentioned the importance of thumbnails. Where do you recommend people go to get thumbnails, and how much should they be paying for thumbnails if people don't have graphic designer or tech savvy? Upwork, Fiverr, how much should they pay? What's your best advice for people on how to find great thumbnails to help alleviate that stress from their concerns so they can focus on making the content, not necessarily packaging it?
Yeah, so for people who are interested for thumbnails, a great place to, if you already have a big channel and you want to improve your thumbnails that you maybe you've made years ago, to get that video gaining in more views and subscribers, TubeBuddy is a great place where you can split test titles and thumbnails to see what will do better. So TubeBuddy is a great place. In terms of
TubeBuddy,
sorry?
just to clarify, TubeBuddy is the name of it?
Yeah,
Cool.
TubeBuddy.
And TubeBuddy allows you to split test thumbnails and titles. I think you mentioned to me you can do it at any time, but it's most optimal if it's videos that have been up for at least 14 days or so on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, and for people who are just starting out, I wouldn't worry about split testing anything. This is coming to a point when you're big enough and you have the views to really start doing that. So for people who already have big channels, split testing on TubeBuddy, greatest ROI you can probably make for your channel, one of them. Small membership fee every month. It's nothing compared to the ROI it gives you.
Right.
In terms of how Evan hired his team was through Upwork, where then we pulled people into his team. And you can find some amazing people around the world. And this is the great thing, especially now for people who want to move online and don't have a job with this pandemic going on, is the amount of people are looking for contractors and people to pull into their team from Upwork, where you can find people around the world. So, there are amazing people on Evan's team from Ukraine, as example, where the minimum wage there is not the same as, say, $15, $20 here. And so you could find someone passionate who wants to escape some crappy construction 9-to-5 job in Ukraine and stay home and make thumbnails and inspire people and give to a business and make more in US dollars that will cost you half than someone paying that's actually working in the US. So you can pull someone out of a job they'd hate. Yeah, so you can pull someone out of a job they hate. Most people on Evan's team, maybe they don't have those first world countries. Give them a job who are super passionate, and you charge them a fraction of what it will cost even there, but it's more for them anyway. So it's a win-win scenario. And so in terms of scaling, you want to look for committed people on Upwork. And I would highly recommend people type in on YouTube if they're curious about that. The hiring process is broken by Evan Carmichael, and he can explain how to do that for people who are interested. But for anyone,
for people to check that out if they want to, it's basically a video where Evan's explaining how to get people who are passionate about creating content or thumbnails or whatever it is, instead of just freelancers, which can kind of be a headache. I know I've experienced that. So yeah, we'll put a link for you guys in the description below for that.
But if you're just starting out, I would just look at Evan's thumbnails and kind of model off. You don't need a graphic designer, even if you're just starting out. Work your way up to that and start outsourcing. But just having a close-up face, 3 to 5 catchy, powerful words on a thumbnail is a great way. And study Evan's top videos, and you can instantly see the title and the thumbnail, why that does such a good job at pulling people in. And so if people have to make it themselves, I would really dive into the research and analysis of looking at Evan's thumbnails and try to model a bit after it as well as the main thing. Because if you don't have a catchy thumbnail, if you have the most impactful video in the world but the crappiest thumbnail, no one's going to watch your video. So the thumbnail is just as important as the video itself.
Right. It's not more important because it gets the click. Yeah.
Yeah. And so once you get that click, you haven't sold people yet. They're not sold on the idea of whether or not they should watch a 10-minute plus video, 20, 30-minute, hour-long, whatever the case. So the first minute has to then deliver that power, where you tell people exactly in this video how you're going to change their life. And if they don't watch this video, you almost want to make it feel like they're going to hurt. they're going to miss out on something. They are not going to level up their life. And you do want to incite that pain if they click away, because you're trying to change their life. And sometimes you got to be forceful with that. So you want to deliver so much power on how you're going to do exactly that. Pull people in the first minute, and then you have them for the rest of the video. And from there, you then want to use end cards, where you can link up another video and start getting people to binge watch video after video.
And those end cards are basically embedded on YouTube. You can actually manually edit them in, so it's pretty easy to learn how to do. What about titles? How important are titles and the words or the copywriting as it comes to titles? I know those are probably the second most important, right? The second thing that people judge. What have you seen are trends that do work and don't work as it relates to creating titles around your videos?
Yeah, so with titles, you definitely, when creating content, you want to look up the biggest channels that are similar to what you want to do. And you want to go on their channel and find their most popular videos. What titles have worked on their channel? And what could you get inspiration from? Or maybe use a similar title as well. So it could apply, if you're trying to grow the same audience, what a great way to find a great title that's already been proven to work on YouTube. So you don't have to do any guessing. You want to look at titles like that. Thumbnails are always the most important because YouTube's a visual platform. It's the first thing people see. And so titles then come second. And so with titles, you just want to make it as interesting and curiosity power driven as possible. So if you look at a lot of the titles we do on our channel, we sometimes have stuff like, do this to become a millionaire. Things like do this, or the secret to achieving more happiness. This is how you gain confidence. Finding stuff that has so much power and curiosity driven is a great way to then say, you're asking the viewer a question. How do I gain confidence? Oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I should click on this video and find out. And so it's essentially a 3-step process people should think about when creating videos. People first see the thumbnail. If you have a close-up face and powerful words on the thumbnail, like gain more confidence today, as example. Gain more confidence today. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Then look at the title. This is the #1 secret to gaining confidence. But it is the #1 secret to gaining confidence. They click on the title, and then you have that powerful intro for a video, and that's how you just suck people in.
Thumbnail, title, intro.
Thumbnail, title, intro.
Yeah.
And then that's the play you want to take to really scale on YouTube. And when you
boost and favor you,
yeah, and then when you pump out so much content, like going really how much you can match and then build up to what you can do, you start to see what works. You'll see what kind of videos are really taking off on your channel, and you want to start keep doing those videos. Episode 2, episode 3.
So essentially you guys are testing nonstop to learn this stuff, and you recommend to other people that, hey, there's these formulas, but the algorithm's always changing, always evolving. It's essential to always test, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for sharing all that value. I think we covered a whole bunch of it. I do have one more question, and that is, when it comes to offering products, services, selling on YouTube, right? The business of YouTube, collecting those emails. I know you mentioned jab, jab, right hook. What have you guys found in all your testing is the best way to, collect that email, add value, sell coaching, sell consulting, sell an ebook or whatever it is, and adding value to people through your product and service? Is it having calls to action in the beginning, because most of the audience will catch the beginning, not all of them stay to the end? Is it calls to action at the end with end cards, because even though you get less people stay to the end of videos, they're at least a warmer lead or higher probability of actually collecting it? Is it optimizing the description, specific calls to action? What are the specific things in all your guys' testing that you've seen actually drive results when it comes to getting sales, collecting emails, and impacting people, bringing them into your business, so that you can then serve them in that capacity? And I really want to ask this to serve people watching so they can go and apply it right away. What's the best advice on that?
Yeah, so in terms of doing call to actions to get people into an email, you never want to do it at the beginning of a video, because you're just trying to deliver value to keep people. And some people, they'll just leave, which is natural. The people who are really committed to watching your content the full length are the people you want to get into the email to begin with, because those are the warm leads. And so throughout the video, you should be telling people, oh, and by the way, if you like this video I'm doing, I have a full course on this. Check out the first link in the description. And then that's a great way, which we've talked about. The other way is in your end cards, linking up that PDF and to a potential offer where you give them more value. So, and specifically giving them a call to action. So if you ever look at Evan's end screens, you can see Evan always points to the next video. Hey, if you like this video, check out this video right here. I know you'll love. That gives people a direct call to action for the next video to watch, so they start binge watching videos. But then you can also say, and also here's a free XYZ PDF down below to level up your life even more. Go check it out. And so a great thing that Evan does really well is he has something called the 254 series, where for 254 days, you don't have to do it this long. It could be 30 days. It could be 10 days. He delivers, it's called 254 Confidence. So every day, if you give him your email, he'll send you a little clip video in the email for 254 days of something powerful on how to gain more confidence. So Oprah Winfrey, day one, will tell you how to get confidence. Jeff Bezos will tell you how to get confidence, and on and on and on. After 254 days of giving so much value, if you tell people to buy a course or a seminar, most people would be more than happy to dive deeper into the services you're providing. So you do those call to actions. First link in the description, and then linking up a PDF in the end screen. And then once you get that email, you deliver even more value for a certain extended period of days. And then you sell something after that. Hey, by the way, I saw you like the 254 series. I have a course on this. And that's an amazing way, one of the best ways to really grow your channel. And there's various different methods. There are yoga channels right now that are doing 30 days of yoga. Every single day, I'm going to send you the video in the morning to join the 30 days of yoga. Once they collect those emails, they have that person for life in their system to then sell people on their courses, yoga mats, anything. And this works for any kind of channel. So it's amazing. The email is where the gold is, and YouTube is the initial value that no other platform can really give long term.
Very powerful, man. Now, how about when it comes? You just triggered a curious question to me. What about when it comes to descriptions? Some people have a lot of links. Some people have one link. What are ways to optimize your descriptions? I know you mentioned earlier that keywords in there certainly help you rank with the algorithm. But when people are offering products and services, are they putting too many links? If they say, hey, here's a free PDF, here's a free ebook, hey, you can buy my course here, hey, you can follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on Facebook, you can email me here, right? They can have all these links. What's your best advice on how to optimize getting people to take action? Is it the less links, the better, because it's clearer? Is it having as many links as possible so you give people options? And all your guys' research and testing and working with people who have millions of subscribers and testing millions of people in traffic, what have you seen work with optimizing your descriptions to bring people into your business?
Yeah, so less is better. You don't want to send people, especially to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you don't want to send people off the platform. If they're committed to YouTube, you want to keep them there as long as possible, because that's something YouTube actually looks at. If you're forcing people to leave to go check out your Instagram, YouTube's gonna take a little notice of that and say, well, he's not serving our purposes or her purposes for pulling people off. So
that's why it links to other YouTube videos on their channel, so that it keeps people on YouTube will probably favor them the algorithm.
Yeah, you can link up a relevant video. And so if you're going to pull people off, you have to make sure it's a business ROI in order to make it worthwhile. And so the thing you want to do is, I would forget about social media links. If your branding name on the YouTube channel is the same as Instagram, Facebook, people will find you.
Or if you have your Instagram handle pop up and whatever.
Yeah. But in terms of getting people into a course, it is great to have the most powerful thing you want to sell at the top. where then you can say in the video, check out the first link in the description. You want to make it as easy as possible for people not to scroll, and they can click on it.
What if you have
And
a free ebook and a paid course? Is it better to put the free thing first, or is it better to put the paid thing first?
it depends on what you're trying to sell in the video. So if you want people to get the free ebook so you get their email, 100% should be the main thing. If you have a course and you find that maybe you don't have an email list, maybe you're just only YouTube driven from pulling people off, well, then you want to make sure the course is first. Whatever that video is, the main thing you're promoting, that should be the first link that people check out. And
Is there a number of links that you recommend?
no, it's a small thing, and descriptions in terms of like getting things to rank is not huge. It's just the main thing for descriptions is have like one or two sentences about what your video is about. You could have a link to subscribe, but then also at the top have that one thing you want to do the best job at promoting. And usually that's the PDF, because it's very hard to sell off YouTube, but giving value and then pulling people into another bonus of value, and then that email, you can just follow up. And so it's PDFs tend to always do the best job at that.
Makes sense. Brilliant, dude. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Now,
No
last
problem.
question I have, you triggered one more. What about people who, hey, there's different price points, right? Some people have, stuff that they sell for a couple bucks. Some people have stuff that's tens of thousands. Some people have things for hundreds of thousands, right? Are you finding that audiences of all price points exist on YouTube? Or is there certain types of content that, is favors more of the high ticket stuff versus the low ticket stuff? Or is that just a matter of the content creator just being really intentional about who his ideal audience avatar is when he's creating that particular video and that particular call to action? What have you guys found when it comes to, for example, somebody selling a high ticket thing versus a low ticket thing? Or is it the same thing? It's just a matter of speaking to the audience, giving them value, and driving that ideal viewer into your email list or your ecosystem?
Yeah, so it's really everyone, as you're gaining subscribers, you're not going to know who's got the 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 amount of capital to spend with you, and the people that don't, that's fine too, because they're still driving towards the business. They're watching your content, which is then promoting you to the paid people. So you want to treat all your subscribers as they're all doing something to impact your business, whether even if maybe they don't have the best capital right now to spend a high ticket item, but maybe they can buy a book. And so when you get their email, you're never going to know who's who, but that's where it comes into play of the click funnels of you sell the book, and then you move up into the course, and you inch your way up and see who keeps remaining at the end of that.
Sure, yeah, and you can offer various value adds. So, for example, you can offer them a book, but then an audiobook version, and then a coaching call, and then a core, right? You offer more and more, depending on how much service that person needs, you can then add value to them.
Yeah, but even just to give an example, you don't even need a huge audience to optimize it. And I need to make this very important. There are people and channels who are literally teaching people how to raise children. And so single mom, has 5 kids, all came very successful. Some went into the trades, some became doctors, but none of them were messed up. And so she teaches people on here's how you raise children, creates content around that. And it's so interesting because, well, if you're about to have a baby, who doesn't want to watch that valuable content? And after serving so much content, that those people who maybe the audience is only 50,000 subscribers,
right,
or 20,000 subscribers, doesn't matter. If you have a $1,000 course and you've been giving so much value to new parents who are about to have a kid, wouldn't they be willing to pay maybe $1,000 for a course that helped a single mom raise 5 children? And so by delivering so much value and pulling people into an email list, let's say you have 50,000 subscribers and it's capped at that for life for some reason, and you get maybe 3% to go into an email list, and maybe from that you get 0.5%. You're still making 6 figures or something like that.
Sense. Yeah.
So you don't, and it's all capital. There's no fees because
Mhm.
it's selling intellectual information on something she went through,
Yeah,
or for any parent.
helping people with, yeah,
And
exactly.
so making a great living doing the thing, teaching the thing that that person's pain came from. And so really, you don't even need a huge audience to really make a great living off of it.
Yeah, and then you could also, if you wanted to go into the paid route, you could always run ads to people who've engaged with your YouTube audience, or you can find people who are teaching and have a bigger audience, who are teaching around things that you want to offer products and services around, and target their audience. Right? Google actually allows you to, when you set up ads on YouTube, to actually run ads to people who may have millions of subscribers and whatever it is you teach, so that you can sort of get some attention from that audience, so then
Hmm.
product and service drive them to your
Yeah.
channels. That's
And it's the paid strategy should come later as you build.
right,
We're always organic focused, because it's essentially free marketing. Like
right.
we're always getting millions upon millions of impressions that television channels used to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for, and
Yeah.
you're doing it for free. And so if there was ever a time to get started, I guess I would leave this for your audience is, the best time to start was yesterday, but the best time to plant the seed is today. And so it's now is the even though you may be 2008, sure, it would have been a great time to start, or whatever the case, 2010, whenever YouTube first came out. uh, the greatest time is today, because it's only a matter of time before big brands realize the potential of YouTube, and Disney or Coca-Cola starts making their own YouTube content.
Mm.
So if there was ever a time
Yeah,
to get on, it would definitely be before these big brands. So what's stopping you? Pull out your phone, record that video, and consistency.
I love that, man. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
My
And what
pleasure.
people find you out if they want to do consulting with you, they want to get in touch with you, we'll put some links below. Where can people find you, man? And what are some products or services you may offer people who may need help with their YouTube channel?
Yeah, so the main place to find me is my email, jeremy@evancarmichael.com. That's where I'm most active. Instagram, Jeremy_Stickney, uh, and less of a known place. Mostly email is the way to reach me, but if you want to follow me for some reason, by all means, go ahead. Uh,
Awesome.
and yeah, whether you're starting out or you're, a million plus subscriber channel, we help literally everyone who's already crushing it, who could be doing more, or for people who are just getting going. So
Yeah, man.
ranges.
Absolutely. And I personally use you. So, guys, I personally endorse Jeremy. He is the man. He knows everything about every nook and cranny. Well, what about this? What should I title this? What should I do with my channel here? Can you look at it? A lot of people want to do audits and evaluations. So, if you guys want a professional, I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys check out Jeremy and invest your time into checking out that stuff. As you know, I don't just bring anybody on the show. So, he's one of the passionate few. He's one of you guys. So, uh, very cool, man. Well, thank you so
Well,
much
thank you.
for today, Jeremy. It's been a privilege. Appreciate you sharing it. I think it's really going to serve a lot of people in their YouTube business and their regular business. So
Hmm.
thank you so
Yeah,
much for being on, brother.
my pleasure. Thank you. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you guys for enjoying this episode. As always, live strong, live with passion. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Like this, share it with a friend if it brought you value and you think that it could actually help them with your YouTube channel. And comment below. Let us know what questions, if we had Jeremy on for round 2, you guys would want us to ask him to help you with your show. All right, guys, take care, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Jeremy.
Take care.
Have you ever listened to an inspiring story or interview or podcast like this and thought to yourself, man, I wish I could share my story with the world? Whether it's your brand, your product, your service, or your business that you believe can inspire others just like this, we want to hear from you. Our team at The Passionate Few is now hosting live interviews. All you have to do is click the link in the bio and fill out a short questionnaire, and you never know, you may just be the next Passionate Few.
Hey you, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to smash that subscribe button right now. And also, if you're an epic entrepreneur, thought leader, expert, and you want to be interviewed on the show, the same way we've interviewed over $10 billion worth of entrepreneurs and reached millions of people, then all you have to do is click the link below right now and fill out the questionnaire to see if you'd be a good fit to be interviewed on The Passionate Few. And also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click any of these videos as well. If you thought this video is epic, these videos will blow your mind. Until next time, live strong, live with passion, and thank you for being one of the passionate few. I'll see you in the next video.